Hey, what's going on, Turbo Speedsters? It's your boy, Coach Chris Turbo, aka Mr. Turbo Speed, aka Coach Chris Burris. And I wanted to thank you all for stopping by my channel. So if you're new, go ahead and do your coach a favor and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to turbo smack that like button and power punch that notification bell so that you can take advantage of all my coaching, training, speed enhancing videos here on YouTube. So in today's video, Turbo Speedsters, we're going to be talking about how you can be running faster, sprinting faster with proper programming. So, sprint faster with proper programming. We're going to take a look at key programming styles, specifically the phase style and the 52-week style, where you're going to incorporate monthly, weekly, daily goals. We're going to talk about some components of each, some advantages, and some key notes that you should be aware of as a parent, coach, or an athlete yourself. Then we're going to get into some practical applications. The purpose of this video is to provide key concepts regarding sprint programming for sprinters and speedsters. The scope of this video will include proper programming methodologies to include daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly strategies so that you can run faster via your programming style. And the audience for this video is intended for coaches, athletes, parents, or anyone who wants to improve their strength, conditioning, sports performance, and speed training times. Alright, Turbo Speedsters, let's go ahead and dive right into this. The first thing we're going to look at are the key programming styles. Okay, so for me, there are two key programming styles that I think that you should be aware of as an athlete and or a coach or a parent. Okay, so the first style is going to be a phase style, more like a block style of training. Okay, so some key components of that, where you will find information on this type of training programming, will be from your typical strength and conditioning certifications, personal training certifications, personal fitness trainer certifications. So you're looking at the ISSA, NESTA, ACE, NASM. So those are the type of certifications that are going to teach personal trainers and fitness professionals how to program, right? So you're going to have a phase 1, you're going to have a phase 2, you're going to have a phase 3, very block style, okay? The second type of style that I think that you should be aware of is the 52-week style of periodization, all right? So when you say periodization for the 52-week style, you're going to talk about more specific strategic planning. It's going to be a little bit more scientific. So certifications that use this type of style are going to be the NSCA type stuff, and then you're going to see the ACSM type stuff. So a lot of the collegiate level type of programming and certifications that require you to have a higher education or an advanced degree. The CSCS, the ISSA, specialist in strength and conditioning. Some of those high-level degrees and certifications are going to use this 52-week style of periodization, right? So what does all this entail? Okay, so we'll start with the phases style. Phases style is very simple. You know, it's the KISS acronym. Keep it super simple. So you're going to follow a basic formula that looks kind of like this. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, Phase 5, depending on how long you want to make your training program, right? But essentially, phase 1 is always going to start off as a foundation or a building phase. It's where you start off building a foundation or working on the fundamentals regardless of the sport, right? So usually your phase 1 is going to end up being anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, okay? This is optimal time for physiological changes to the body that can occur if you're training consistently and you're keeping the continuity of your training consistent as well, right? So that's what a phase 1 is going to look like. Depending on your sport, be it football, basketball, track and field, your phase 2 is going to be more of a direct approach, So you're going to be working on some of your things like your basic strength, hypertrophy. You're going to work on your key biomotor skills such as flexibility, range of motion, coordination, stamina, endurance. Okay, but you're going to be really targeting the physiological and metabolic responses from your weight training and your sprint training here in phase 2. And again, phase 2 is going to be anywhere from about 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the athlete. And always remember that your athletes are all individuals, so not one program is going to work consistently for everyone in your program, because everyone is different. You're going to have tall sprinters, you're going to have short sprinters, you're going to have heavier sprinters and light sprinters. So phase 2 is going to be focused on getting your athletes the most bang for their buck in a short amount of time. Moving into phase 3 typically is going to be your competition type phase, especially in track and field. This is going to be where you're maintaining the gains that you have achieved in phase 2, because you're working on that strength in phase 2, that power in phase 2. So phase 3 is typically going to be your type of maintenance. So how do you make sure that you don't lose the gains, the strength gains, the power development gains that you made in phase 2? And again, a competition phase, especially for track and field, depending on which region of the country you are, if you're in the US or in the world, this phase can be shorter or longer than some. So for example, I'm actually here in Colorado. We have a very short window for track and field, outdoor track and field. So you're looking anywhere from a phase 2, actually competition 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. And then after that, you might have a phase 4 where you're actually peaking. And this is a peaking phase where it's minimal weight room stuff, more very high intense speed sprinting to kind of get you ready for championships or regionals or nationals. And that's how basically the phase style will work. So you start off in phase 1, move to phase 2, move to phase 3, move to the next phase, move to the next phase. You'll see that some trainers and some coaches will have a very similar situation where it's just 3 phases, to not overcomplicate it. And when you get done with phase 3 and you're still training through your season, you start all over. So you'll go back to phase 1 and start building a new foundation of strength after you've maintained and maybe competed a little bit. You'll see this typically inside of collegiate sports, track and field, when you have 2 separate seasons. So you'll have indoor season and your outdoor season, where after indoor conference championships and then indoor nationals, if you're at the NCAA division, you'll move back into like a phase 1 where you'll start back into a foundation and start building those core biomotor skills, move back into a strength and power development phase, go back into a competitive phase, and then probably like a peaking phase or a championship phase. Okay, so that is your phases style. Now your 52-week style is a little bit more scientific, right? It's going to have a little bit more strategic approach, and there's some key concepts that you have to understand so that you can maximize the effectiveness of the 52-week training style, right? The 52-week training style usually incorporates the 3 different phases, or the 3 different sections or levels you would call them. So you have the macro level, which is going to be your year, right? 52 weeks in a year. Okay, so this will encompass the whole entire year, and you want to very strategically dictate what your targets and goals are for the year. Now, elite athletes, this can be 4-year plans if you're trying to make it into the Olympics. This can be 3-year plans if you're the type of person that's at the elite level but not quite the Olympic level. If you're a masters athlete, you might program the macro level for your targets and your goals, right? So underneath the macro level, you'll have the meso level basically, and that is your monthly targets and goals. Okay, so you have your 52 weeks, and then you break that down into your monthly goals and your monthly targets. And this can be anything from blocks of 2-month blocks, 3-month blocks, 4-month blocks, depending on how you want to approach it as a coach, specific towards your athlete, or for yourself, specific towards your event and your target and training goals, right? So below that, you have your macro or your micro level, and these are going to be your weekly targets, the purpose of your weekly trainings, okay, what you're trying to hit weekly. And usually this is what a 52-week style would break down, right? But for me, after years of training and being a competitive athlete and still being a competitive athlete, I've actually broken this down into one more level. So you'll have your macro, your meso, your micro, and then I actually have a nano level, something that you don't hear or see anyone else talking about. So a nano level basically is your daily goals, your daily training sessions within your micro level type of training, okay? And essentially the nano level is going to dictate what your training goals are for that day in the weight room and your training goals are for that day on the track, okay? And that's a little bit different, a little bit more detailed. I think as a sprint coach and a speedster, that is important to understand. Yes, we have the micro level that's going to tell us what our weekly goals are, but when we're in the weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, or on the track any one of those days, we have to know what the goals are and what why are we training and what targets are we trying to hit on a daily basis. So I have a nano level that we talk about. So how is this beneficial? A 52-week style periodization. It basically makes sure that you hit your seasonal marks a little bit more effective than the phases. So when we talked about the phases, I said that usually they go phase 1, 2, 3, and then they'll recycle back up and start all over again, and then keep doing this continuous cycle, right? So with the seasonal periodization, with the 52 weeks, you have your whole year in front of you, your whole training plans in front of you. You have it broken down to your meso level, you have it broken down to your macro level, your micro level, then you have it broken down into a nano level if you use the program that I'm on, and it allows you to see your daily goals, your weekly goals, your monthly goals, and your yearly targets. And this way you can actually break it down into your season. So if you're doing an indoor-outdoor seasons, you're going to be able to see what your monthly breakdowns are. It's going to make you see what your weekly breakdowns are during your general preparation phase, your pre-competition phase, your late pre-competition phase, your in-season phase, your transition phase into your competition phase, and then your peaking phase, right? So, and then your active transition into out of season at the summertime if you decide to keep going and continue your training, right? So you have your whole week built out, you have your whole month built out, you have your whole year built out. So that's some of the benefits of this. Now, which one do I prefer? For me, college level, elite athlete level, definitely want to be using a 52-week style. If you're a weekend warrior, or if you're like a Masters, USA Track and Field Masters athlete, and you're working a full-time job, and you got kids, a phases style might be a good idea to kind of incorporate, because you might find out like, hey, they're having indoor Masters regionals championships in 90 days, then you can phase out 90 days easy, and you run that one meet all year and you'll be done. Or you might say that, hey, championships for USA Track and Field Masters is going to be in May, and it's January now, so you have 6 months. This might be the better option for you. It's not as detailed, but you can still put the information you get from here into your type of phases that you need. Now for the Team Turbo Speed method and how we approach it and how I train athletes all around the world is that we do a hybrid system of both. So I want to be able to see the whole year for the athlete, but I also want to put it into fun and engaging phases for them so that they're not burning themselves out. So we definitely take a look at the macro, the meso, the micro, and then the nano level, and then build that out into phases. So it's like a hybrid system that we use here to make sure that we maximize the gains of our sprinters so that they're hitting their PRs and their personal best, season bests, when they need to be hitting those at championship time, right? So the last thing I want to talk about before I let you guys go here is practical applications, right? So understanding these two core concepts, but essentially which one you should use is basically up to personal preference, right? Whichever one you feel comfortable. If you want to use this one, or a hybrid of both, you can. You want to understand the goals, the training goals that you have with your athletes when you're doing your programming, either or style. You want to understand the motivations, right? What motivates your athlete If a style like this isn't motivating them, maybe a style like this is going to motivate them. I see with younger kiddos and younger athletes, if you put it into phases, then you'll say phase 1 is a Hulk phase, phase 2 is Spider-Man phase 3 is Wolverine's phase. You know, it makes it a little bit fun for them, and it engages them because you can correlate it to their world, right? You can connect to them on their level, and usually boys or girls will know what those are, and they'll be able to correlate that to them and make it fun and engaging, and especially the parents too can use that to motivate their kids to take their training seriously. And the same thing for some adults who might need that type of inspiration as well. And then the last thing for practical applications, you want to be aware of the athletic needs of your athletes. Like I said, if you're running a high school program, a lot of coaches will use a cookie cutter type of programming where short sprinters are going to do this, long sprinters are going to do this, long distance is going to do this, middle distance is going to do this, jumpers are going to do this, right? But if you're really serious about winning championships as a coach, personal accolades, and or if you're really serious about personal development for your athletes, getting them to get scholarships at the NCAA level or the NAIA level or the JUCO level, you need to be aware of the athletic needs of all your athletes, right? Some athletes are going to need more attention than others, and that's your job to balance that if you're a coach, or if you're a parent, or if you're just an athlete yourself. You know, you have to become a master of your craft. You have to become a master of speed and sprint training, and understanding the types of training and the different phases that you can be implementing in your summer training, your off training, your winter training before you get to the actual season, so that you can be the best athlete, sprinter, speedster that you can. All right. So absorb all of this, understand what the different phases are, and how this can actually make you sprint faster by proper programming. You want to be able to hit your goals. You want to understand what your training goals are throughout your given training cycles, your training year, your monthly goals, your weekly goals, and your daily goals. So with that being said, thank you guys again for stopping by my channel. So if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and do your coach a favor and turbo smack that like button and power punch that notification bell, so that you can take advantage of all my coaching, training, speed enhancing videos here on YouTube. And like I always say, turbo speedsters, don't go fast, go turbo.